Today on KWTX News 10 this morning, heavy winds causing fires to spread around the area. And good news at the pumps as gas prices drop.
And people are getting ready out here in Cameron Park for one of the biggest bike races in Waco. We'll tell you a little bit more about it here in a bit.
This is KWTX News 10.
Well, good Sunday morning. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Rosamond Crown filling in for Megan and joined by the Honorable Rusty Garrett.
Wow, well, thank you very much.
I had to find
much,
new
Rosamond.
adjectives.
Well, it's going to be another warm, if not hot and windy day today.
Okay.
I don't know if you were out much after you left yesterday morning for the
It was
afternoon.
hot.
Yes, it was. In fact, take a look at these high temperatures. Officially, 91 degrees at Waco Airport, the hottest single day for the year 2022 so far. And there were a number of temperatures that were in the lower 90s, should be around 73. We missed the record from 2011 of 94. Here's today's forecast, back in those upper 80s to low 90s. Winds are still strong. The atmosphere is still charged for the possibility of a spark that could ignite a grass fire or a brush fire, so red flag warning in effect. It may be just a little less hot across our eastern counties, but from the interstate to the west, it's more of the same, and we'll have a lot of weather to cover within this hour.
Okay, thank you, Rusty. Well, some of the wind conditions this weekend have created fire issues in Moody. Crews worked all day to put out a fire near the Leon River. Departments from across central Texas were called out to help in the effort, and helicopters have been used to pull water from the river to fight the flames from above. The 50-acre fire is in the area of Cowan Road and Buckhorn Cemetery Road, just south of Mother Neff State Park. Several homes in that area were evacuated as a precaution. And a fire in Medina County is forcing people from their homes as the fire has now grown to over 900 acres. Officials say 20% of the fire is contained, and the situation there is dangerous. As of yesterday, 40 to 50 homes were evacuated. The brush fire is believed to have stemmed from a vehicle fire. No injuries have been reported. Temple police are investigating a robbery that happened yesterday evening. Around 6 p.m., one man stole jewelry and cash from a store off of South 31st Street. Police say they aren't sure how much he took, but officials say he didn't use any weapons during the incident, but he did threaten to use one. The man then fled the scene, and police say there's a possible second person involved in that incident that helped him get away. No injuries were reported there. If you know anything, call police. The Leon County Sheriff's Office says human remains have been found during the search for a man who disappeared more than 8 months ago. The remains were recovered in the Flynn area. Matthew Halley was reported missing in July of 2021. Officials say the investigation continues and additional forensic testing will need to be done to officially identify those remains. A construction worker has died while working to help demolish the government center parking garage in Boston. City officials there say the worker fell from the 9th floor last night when the garage partially collapsed. The city says all other workers were safely evacuated from that building. Well, Russia's invasion of Ukraine has now entered its second month with setbacks mounting and civilians suffering. Russian forces are now targeting the western Ukrainian city of Lviv. CBS's Imtiaz Tayeb is there.
Russian missiles streak across the sky, targeting a fuel depot and sending a roiling cloud of black smoke into the air.
Well, we heard a series of loud explosions. And as you can see, Vladimir Putin's war is now squarely on Lviv's doorstep.
At least 5 people were injured in the attack just 2 miles from the center of the city, terrifying residents who have largely been spared the brutal violence seen across so much of Ukraine. As Russian forces carried out a series of other long-range missile strikes. The attacks follow an announcement by Russian generals the Kremlin would be shifting focus from its ground offensive aimed at Kyiv to instead prioritizing what Moscow calls the liberation of the contested eastern Donbass region. And while it doesn't yet look as if Vladimir Putin is changing his approach to the war on Ukraine, what's clear are the Kremlin's military miscalculations. Russian tanks just outside the capital Kyiv now burnt out wrecks of twisted metal, as Ukrainian forces continue to fight back with an intensity few expected. But as the war continues to inflict widespread horror, it's children who suffer the most. Just 1 month into Russia's invasion, and over half of all kids across Ukraine, 4.3 million of them, have had to flee their homes. Many internally displaced families have found shelter in schools. At one in Lviv, we met 13-year-old Anastasia, who lives here with her dad and little brother. I come from Melitopol, where there are lots of Russian soldiers, she says. It took us 2.5 days by train just to get here. Anastasia says the hardest thing about leaving home was saying goodbye to her grandmother.
Things are really tough right now, but you're still smiling.
I don't know how, she says. I think I do it for my dad. A strength being asked of too many of Ukraine's most vulnerable. Imtiaz Taib, CBS News, Lviv.
Oh, heartbreaking. Well, the devastation there in Ukraine has tugged on so many people's heartstrings, with many finding ways to donate to help. Well, one little boy in our area with a special connection to Ukraine had a bright idea to open a lemonade stand. News 10's Michael Cantu has his story.
Thank you. You're welcome. Stay safe.
The sign reads "Any prize," and little Archer Pittman made sure to take full advantage.
It's not free. You can't have it free.
Outside of the family home in Woodway, he, friends Emerson and Eloise, and others sold lemonade to neighbors.
I love donating the money to Ukraine since I know they really need it.
The family's plan is to send all the money to an organization called World Central Kitchen to help the people of Ukraine.
Y'all can get snacks right now too. Okay. You can just use that money and they just buy materials to make the food.
It is a special cause for Archer as well.
And then actually, here you go, I was born there. Yeah, I was adopted from Ukraine and then I came here.
His passion to help was contagious.
Thanks for doing this.
Neighbors from all around came by to give, from the old to the young.
2 cups of lemonade and 1 Rice Krispie treat. Yes.
Archer taking command of the operation too, so it was not a parent in charge, but a parent who was in charge.
Just regular lemonade. Hey, girls.
All done with a goal in mind, to make sure everything in this jar made it to where he once called home.
Because Ukraine might need money and people might be getting hurt, or doctors might need medicine or something.
Michael Cantu, KWTX News 10.
Oh, what a sweet boy. Well, Archer's family tells KWTX they actually raised more than $1,500 yesterday. Well, speaking of good drinks for a good cause, Habitat for Humanity teamed up with a local winery to raise funds for its clients this weekend. Habitat hosted its Rose the Roof 5K at the Three Texans Winery in Temple. Afterwards, runners were also able to stroll around and try some of the wine. Money made from the event helped to buy building materials for 19 future Habitat homeowners waiting for their homes to be built. Organizers say this event is the first of its kind.
So far, we've raised enough to fund about 1/5 of a home, and so that's wonderful. The cost of a home has increased by 140% since 2019.
KWTX News 10 is the Weather Authority.
Good morning, everybody. We're glad to have you on this early Sunday. Temperatures are going to start warming up quickly as we move into the afternoon hours. Right now, we're mainly in the 50s and 60s, and temperatures will steadily climb because we've still got some dry air in place. That sun will go to work, especially along and west of Interstate 35, where the dew points are in the 20s and 30s. But look at the green shade down here. That's that moist Gulf air slowly trying to work its way northward up into our area. Still, No burning, absolutely no burning. County burn bans extend across a vast area of our area, and a red flag warning, which was to be in effect until 8 o'clock last night, was extended and will be in effect until 8 o'clock tonight. Again, lots of contributing factors just to kind of keep you on track. This wind is going to be our biggest nemesis over the next couple of days. We're into the lower 80s by the time the lunch hour rolls around today, and it does look like there will be a number of folks that will hit those lower 90s, especially off to the west, where you could be 92, 93 degrees, slightly less hot in our eastern counties. Coming up, Rosamond, we're going to talk about the upcoming rain chances, which look very healthy for the middle of this new week ahead. We'll be back with that.
Okay, thank you, Rusty. Well, after 2 years of hiatus, a major cycling event is back and organizers are ready to get back at it. The Bear Mountain is having its Cameron Park blowout and the races are starting very soon. We have News 10's Michael Cantu in Cameron Park this morning with a preview of all the action. Good morning.
That's right. That's right. Everybody's getting out here, getting ready. We have one of the many organizers here, Kat Reynolds, with us today. Tell us about what we're going to see today. Things are about to start getting started.
Sure. We're about to get started with the Cameron Park Blowout mountain bike race here in town. It's part of a big race series across the state of Texas. So we're expecting upwards of 400 racers coming in from all over the state to descend upon the city of Waco to enjoy Cameron Park and its awesome trails and build some community around bicycling and ultimately compete and have a good time.
Fantastic. And you were saying on top of that, well, before we get into that, 2 years that this was kind of put on the back burner, and now we're having one of a record year, if you will.
Certainly, yeah. Because of the pandemic, ultimately the race had to be put on hold there for a couple of years, but we're back. We're so excited. It seems that people are really excited to be here as well. We've had more signups than we typically have early, and we expect to have more people sign up day of. So we're really excited to see how this all goes.
Awesome, awesome. And so kind of walk us through the adrenaline for something like this. What do you think those racers are going to be going through whenever their feet are on the pedals and they start out?
Sure. I mean, I think that you're going to have the adrenaline of the crowds and the excitement of the race, and then you're going to get started. And I don't know if you've been to Cameron Park recently. There are a lot of hills out here, so they're going to go from adrenaline to climbing real quick. So we're excited to see how it goes at the end. We'll have some beer from Brotherwell Brewing for them here after they finish up the race, and hopefully reward their efforts.
That's a nice Sunday treat, a nice ride and then a beer afterwards.
Certainly,
well, thank you very much for your time with us, Kat. We'll check back in with these folks here at the blowout here in a little bit, but we'll send it on back to you folks in the studio there.
Okay, Michael, wine yesterday, beer today. Awesome. Well, you stick with us this morning on News 10. Things may be looking up at the pumps, or should I say looking down? We're talking gas prices dropping. That's coming up. Well, good morning. Thank you for waking up with us. We're taking a beautiful look, kind of beautiful, maybe beautiful is generous, a little muggy looking out there, but the sky looks good.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be a beautiful afternoon. If you noticed yesterday, we saw some of the haze in the air from the smoke from those brush and grass fires. And there's still a little evidence of that as we look from the McLean Children's Hospital out towards Scott and White.
Will we see more of that this afternoon?
I think so, because, you know, there's still some fires that are not completely under control yet. So be careful with those winds today, please. Take another look at a sky cam. This one showing the parking lot, which is empty at the Bell County Expo Center. Winds right now fairly light, but yesterday at this time we had calm winds in a number of locations. Already the winds are starting to hit those double digits in miles per hour, and most of us in the mild 50s and the 60s to the moment. Headed for 90. South winds will be blowing this afternoon at 15 to 25. It will be hot and windy. And then I think we'll see some morning clouds, 55 tomorrow. And then the clouds will thin out and we'll be back under mainly sunny skies. Another breezy day. South winds at 15 to 25 tomorrow. The high getting up to 85. Things start to change overnight Monday into Tuesday. A lot of Gulf moisture moving up, so mainly cloudy and humid. But what about that weather system that's going to bring us some rain? Well, tomorrow it's going to be sitting just off the California coast and will steadily be moving across the desert southwest, producing snow, wintry weather across the Intermountain West. And that's the system that will plow into our area overnight Tuesday and early Wednesday morning. The fact that it's coming in the early hours of the day Wednesday holds down to some extent the possibility of severe weather. There could still be a rumble of thunder and maybe a few stronger storms. Unfortunately, the predicted rainfall totals to the west of I-35 much lower than those points to the east. So we'll just have to take what we can get with that weather system. So to recap, today 90, tomorrow 85, and then a 30% chance of rain for Tuesday, but that's going to be mainly after 10 p.m. We'll have more weather coming up within the hour.
Okay, thank you, Rusty. Well, you may want to check your medicine cabinets. We'll tell you about a recall on a popular heartburn medicine. Stay tuned.
Live from all around Central Texas, you're watching KWTX News 10.
Well, good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. Rusty, I'm getting kind of used to this summer weather in the spring, but I imagine the forecast for the next 10 days looks a little different.
We do have some ups and downs.
Okay.
We were talking before the break how this type of weather, low 90s, should be maybe late May, early June, but we're getting a head start on summer here.
Lord knows what that means for our June and Julys and August.
Lean into the wind, girl.
Oh,
it's
man.
coming. Take a look right now at a live view from downtown Waco. There are less silos. If you're out and about this morning, looks pretty nice. Temperatures are very mild, and boy, we're going to have a beautiful sunrise time lapse for you coming up. As we've mentioned, temperatures are in the lower to the mid 50s across the central and eastern sections, but in the west, it's already into the lower and mid 60s, 64 out there at Goldthwaite, and we'll all be climbing to near 90 degrees this afternoon. Those of you west might see some lower 90s once again. Here's our 7-day weather planner. Tomorrow, 85. The winds next couple days still very strong out of the south, 15 to 25. The winds increase 20 to 30 out ahead of that rain-making weather system, which will initiate some showers and thunderstorms overnight Tuesday and early Wednesday. But by Wednesday afternoon, I think the rain will be out of here and we will have a dry northwest wind, but it'll be 25 to 35 and gusting to near 40. And then we're back into the warmth. 74 Thursday, 80 degrees Friday into Saturday. But Saturday, this coming next weekend, we have a stronger front, which will drop the temperature Sunday, a week from today, down into the upper 60s, and we'll see some mornings in the 40s. More weather, more news, and even sports coming up. Stay with us. So he's doing a bike. It's a
Yeah, it's a
trail
mountain bike race
yeah.
thing.
Okay.
Well, it might be a hot one. They get started at 9.
Oh, do they really? Okay. You know, I wish we had some way to show Cameron Park. We don't have a sky cam.
That's right. They have one more shot at the Sooners. The first 2 days of the series have not gone well for Baylor softball or Baylor
Oh, it's a beautiful morning in Central Texas. Taking a look over Goldthwaite, the Mills County Courthouse. Beautiful sunrise there, Rusty.
It is a beautiful start to the day.
Yeah.
It's Sunday. Hopefully folks out there are tuning in this morning to find out what kind of weather they'll deal with. Michael Cantu at Cameron Park today.
It's good bike riding. He's out at the mountain biking race in Cameron Park, and it's good bike riding weather now. Won't be so when they get started later on.
I think you said that our Gordon Collier is on his two wheels.
He will.
Tracking
Bring
across
some
those
water,
trails.
Gordon.
Yeah, really hydrate for sure. Well, take a look at the 3 days coming up, and it looks pretty good. This afternoon will be hot, 90 degrees. It'll still be warm tomorrow. But maybe the humidity rates will hold the temperatures down a little bit. Typically dry air heats up very rapidly. Very humid air makes the atmosphere a little tougher, struggling to rise in temperatures. There's our change beginning Tuesday night, and that's mainly late. We'll start to see some rain and thunderstorms as our weather system, which is still off the west coast, spirals down across Southern California, the desert Southwest, and then plows right into Texas with some much needed rainfall and maybe some relief for our fire departments, our volunteer crews that are out there struggling to maintain those grass and brush fires. Again, temperatures are very comfortable. To the east of I-35, it may only warm into the mid-80s, but from I-35 to the west, another very hot day.
For the third straight day, Baylor will take on Oklahoma in baseball and softball. Chris Williams joins us in studio. Chris, the Bears are hoping to leave Oklahoma on a high note after losses the last 2 days.
That's right. They have one more shot at the Sooners. The first 2 days of the series have not gone well for Baylor softball or Baylor baseball. Understandable for softball. Oklahoma is the top team in the country. For baseball, well, that loss yesterday, that's a tough one to swallow. And we'll check out the highlights here. Starting the top of the fourth, scoreless game so far when Tyler Nevin jacks it over the left field wall. That's his fourth home run of the year. And that puts Baylor on the board, up 1-0 through 4 innings in this one. They led for almost the entire game. Next inning, same score, runner on second. Alex Gonzalez drops this one into short center field. That brings Esteban Cardoza-Aquino all the way home from second. And the Bears are up 2-0. Top of the 8th now, 3-1 for Baylor. Runners on the corners. Cardoza-Aquino pulls one down the right field line all the way into the corner. That brings in 2 runs. So the Bears lead 5-1 midway through the 8th. But in the bottom of the 8th, bases loaded for Oklahoma, trying to mount a comeback. Tanner Treadaway blasts one over the wall. This is a grand slam. And suddenly we're all tied up at 5 apiece with just 1 inning left to play. The Baylor offense couldn't get anything going, so bottom of 9 still tied, bases loaded again. It's another grand slam. This one a walk-off grand slam for OU. The Sooners put up 8 runs in the final 2 innings to beat Baylor 9-5. All right, Glenn Moore and the Baylor softball team hoping to have better success in Norman. An upset would be amazing. First inning, 2 on for OU, but Aaliyah Binford gets Taylon Snow to ground out, and that ends the Sooner threat. Second inning, Baylor with 2 on now, but Rhyme Trokum strikes out swinging, so we're still scoreless in Norman. Top of 3, Baylor with a runner on second, but Jana Johns with a diving grab on a Casey West line drive. How about those reflexes on the hot corner? Bears come up empty again. Then the bottom of the 3rd, this is where the wheels fall off for Baylor. Lindsey Elam with a 2-run double to put OU on the board. And then the next batter, Snow, is going to just pile it on. She has an RBI single to right. This makes it 3-0, and Oklahoma ends up running away with this one, beating Baylor 8-0 in just 5 innings. So the Bears 0 for 2 in Oklahoma for the second day in a row yesterday, but both teams have one more shot at the Sooners today. That'll round out the weekend series. Reporting in studio, Chris Williams, News 10.
Well, you got the experience.
Taqueria El Mexicano Grill on East Central Texas Expressway in Belton got a 93 on a recent inspection. According to the food safety analyst, they found repeat violations like damaged equipment. There was
Another float. Okay, let's do that. Because I loved Michael's package. Yeah. As long as he's okay. I can't. Welcome back. The FDA is warning consumers that 3 lots of milk of magnesia are being recalled due to possible bacterial contamination. Now, the popular over-the-counter product for heartburn and constipation could cause intestinal distress. Plasticon Healthcare, which makes milk of magnesia, says some lots of its oral suspension product, as well as acetaminophen and magnesium, may be affected. So far, there have been no known reports of illness due to the contamination. Consumers may contact Plasticon for refunds or additional information. After a historic spike earlier this month, gas prices have gone down a bit in the state. The average is now $3.88. This is a significant drop from the all-time record of $4.01 in March 11th. Central Texas sits below the state average. Waco is at $3.82, Temple and Killeen at $3.85, according to Gas Buddy. The cheapest gas in Waco can be found at Sam's Club or Murphy USA off of Imperial. And in Killeen, you can also head over to the Sam's Club or the Walmart.
Taqueria El Mexicano Grill on East Central Texas Expressway in Belton got a 93 on a recent inspection. According to the food safety analyst, they found repeat violations like damaged equipment. There was food stored inside the beer and drink cooler. That's a no-no. This place needed to do some cleaning from the floors to the walls to kitchen equipment. The ice machine also had mold and mildew inside of it. Golden Fried Chicken on South Fort Hood Street in Killeen got a 96 on a recent inspection. According to the food safety worker, this place had a number of repeat violations as well. Dirty fan guards, excess oil residue in the fryer area, a moldy soda machine pipe and ice machine cover, and residue on the soda spigots. All of the cooler racks had mold and excess food particles on them. They needed to be cleaned as well. Mas Fajitas on East Central Texas Expressway in Killeen got a 90 on a recent inspection. According to the food safety analyst, the workers needed to clean all of the plastic and metal racks because of excess food particles. There was mold on the inside of the ice machine. A bag of onions was laying on the floor. All of the spices and chips containers were dirty. The kitchen needed some general cleaning as well as repairs. The permit was withheld until all issues were resolved. Village Pizzeria, Slice House, and Gelato Bar inside Union Hall on Franklin Avenue in Waco is this week's Clean Plate Award winner. It's called a Slice House for a reason. The pizza portions are massive, from the flying pig to the hot honey pie. You can build your own calzone, and don't forget to top off your meals with a crummy gelato. For this week's restaurant report card, I'm Keisha Lopez.
Okay, Rusty, another hot one.
How are you dealing with this day to day? You know, It's tough.
Yeah, dealing. I'm going to go to the lake today because I was excited about the heat yesterday, I was telling you. But man, I think after the few months of winter, I forgot what that heat really was like. So
the wind can be good and bad. You know, it's bad for the firefighters, but when it's this hot, at least a breeze helps to blow some of that hot air around a little bit. Are you ready for a beautiful sunrise?
Sure am.
Take a look at this. This is the rising sun from our Baylor Scott and White Hillcrest tower camera. Oh, it's so pretty this morning. And if you're just joining us, welcome to our morning Sunday broadcast. And if you have trouble sometimes tuning in, maybe it's a little early for you, set your DVRs. Don't miss it because we have a lot of great times here, both Saturday and Sunday mornings. Temperatures are in the 50s and 60s. Yesterday we had some 30s out west and 40s, so definitely a little bit of a change overall with temperatures. And look at this, we'll be climbing into the upper 80s to lower 90s once again. And I'm concerned that those winds could again aggravate the problems with brush and grass fires. You hear it over and over again, but we should repeat that a red flag warning has now been extended until 8 o'clock tonight because of the way things are working. And we will see afternoon sunshine again tomorrow, but increased humidity. And then that next storm system brings some very much needed rainfall late Tuesday, and that will continue through Wednesday morning. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
And you know, a lot of the bikers out here starting to shed those jackets as the sun comes up. We'll have more on the blowout in Cameron Park here in a bit.
Russian missiles streak across.
Thank you. You're welcome. Stay safe.
The sign reads any price, and little Archer Pittman made sure to take full advantage.
It's not free. Can't have it free.
Outside of the family home in Woodway, he, friends Emerson and Eloise.
If you want to take more than that, will that help?
do we need more? I can't update it.
I can do 90 if you need me to. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Oh yes, and the cheers say it all. Take a look at the moment the assistant.
Will I be pitching back to a VO or on camera?
A VO.
Okay, so I should stop.
Okay, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us on News 10 this morning, talking about the situation in Ukraine. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has now entered its second month with setbacks mounting and civilians suffering. And Russian forces are now targeting the western Ukrainian city of Lviv. CBS's Imtiaz Tiab has more.
Russian missiles streak across the sky, targeting a fuel depot and sending a roiling cloud of black smoke into the air.
Well, we heard a series of loud explosions, and as you can see, Vladimir Putin's war is now squarely on Lviv's doorstep.
At least 5 people were injured in the attack just 2 miles from the center of the city, terrifying residents who have largely been spared the brutal violence seen across so much of Ukraine, as Russian forces carried out a series of other long-range missile strikes. The attacks follow an announcement by Russian generals the Kremlin would be shifting focus from its ground offensive aimed at Kyiv to instead prioritizing what Moscow calls the liberation of the contested eastern Donbass region. And while it doesn't yet look as if Vladimir Putin is changing his approach to the war on Ukraine, what's clear are the Kremlin's military miscalculations. Russian tanks just outside the capital Kyiv now burnt out wrecks of twisted metal, as Ukrainian forces continue to fight back with an intensity few expected. But as the war continues to inflict widespread horror, it's children who suffer the most. Just 1 month into Russia's invasion, and over half of all kids across Ukraine, 4.3 million of them, have had to flee their homes. Many internally displaced families have found shelter in schools. At one in Lviv, we met 13-year-old Anastasia, who lives here with her dad and little brother. I come from Melitopol, where there are lots of Russian soldiers, she says. It took us 2.5 days by train just to get here. Anastasia says the hardest thing about leaving home was saying goodbye to her grandmother.
Things are really tough right now, but you're still smiling.
I don't know how, she says. I think I do it for my dad. A strength being asked of too many of Ukraine's most vulnerable. Imtiaz Tiab, CBS News, Lviv.
Well, the devastation in Ukraine has tugged on so many people's heartstrings, with many finding ways to donate to help. Well, one little boy in our area with a special connection to the country had an idea to open a lemonade stand. News 10's Michael Cantu has his story.
Thank you. You're welcome. Stay safe.
The sign reads any price, and little Archer Pittman made sure to take full advantage.
It's not free. You can't have it free.
Outside of the family home in Woodway, he, friends Emerson and Eloise, and others sold lemonade to neighbors.
I love donating the money to Ukraine since I know they really need it.
The family's plan is to send all the money to an organization called World Central Kitchen to help the people of Ukraine.
Y'all can get snacks right now too. Okay. You can just use that money and they just
buy materials to make the food.
It is a special cause for Archer as well.
And then actually, here you go, I was born there. Yeah, I was adopted from Ukraine and then I came here.
His passion to help was contagious.
Thanks for doing this.
Neighbors from all around came by to give, from the old to the young.
2 cups of lemonade and 1 Rice Krispie treat.
Yes.
Archer taking command of the operation too, so it was not a parent in charge, but a parent who was in charge.
Just regular lemonade. Hey, girls.
All done with a goal in mind, to make sure everything in this jar made it to where he once called home.
Because Ukraine might need money and people might be getting hurt, or doctors might need medicine or something.
Michael Cantu, KWTX News 10.
So much awareness at such a young age. Well, Archer's family tells us they raised more than $1,500 just yesterday alone.
Good morning once again. This will be the last time I'll throw this out to you. Not only do we have burn bans in effect that cover most of central Texas, but that red flag warning is the highest elevation for the risk of brush and grass fires due to the drought, the strong winds, and low humidity. And speaking of winds, this afternoon we could easily have winds between 25 and 30 miles an hour, and it could be more like 30 to 35 miles an hour tomorrow. So wind, the common denominator. Beautiful sky, though, as we look this morning out over central Texas with our readings. We'll be rising up close to 90 degrees, not quite the record for this date, but certainly it's going to be very unusual for this particular last little few days of the month of March. There's our weather system, which will be plowing across the southwest, putting down snow in some of the ski resorts and bringing much needed rain to us. And that'll likely come late Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. And I hope that areas to the west get a little bit more than what our model is now predicting, between a quarter to maybe a third of an inch, a few locations at a half an inch. Highest totals will be over the eastern side of the viewing area. And behind that weather system, a very slight dip in temperatures for Wednesday and Thursday, but by Saturday of this next weekend, we'll have an actual cold front that will put us below average for days 6 through 10, Rosamond.
Okay, thank you, Rusty. Well, those high winds are certainly making things difficult for firefighters, especially in Moody, where yesterday crews worked all day to put out a fire near the Leon River. Departments from across central Texas were called out to help in the effort, and helicopters were used to pull water from the river to fight the flames from above. Now, the 50-acre fire is in the area of Cowan Road and Buckhorn Cemetery Road, just south of Mother Neff State Park. Several homes in the area were evacuated as a precaution. And a fire in Medina County is forcing people from their homes as well. That fire has now grown to over 900 acres. Officials say 20% of the fire is contained, and the situation there is pretty dangerous. As of yesterday, 40 to 50 homes were evacuated. The brush fire is believed to have stemmed from a vehicle fire initially. No injuries have been reported there. Temple police are investigating a robbery that happened yesterday evening around 6 p.m. One man, they say, stole jewelry and cash from a store off of South 31st Street. Police say they aren't sure how much money he took or how much jewelry he took, but officials say he didn't use any weapons during the incident, but he did threaten to. The man then fled the scene, and police say there is a possibility that a second person was involved that helped him get away. No injuries were reported, and police say if you have any information, give them a call. The Leon County Sheriff's Office says human remains have been found during the search for a man who disappeared more than 8 months ago. The remains were recovered in the Flynn area. Matthew Halley was reported missing in July of 2021. Officials say the investigation continues and additional forensic testing must be done to officially identify the remains. Well, after a 2-year hiatus, a major cycling event is back and organizers are ready to get back to it. The Bear Mountain is having its Cameron Park blowout, and the races are starting pretty soon there. We have News 10's Michael Cantu in Cameron Park this morning. Michael, how's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty good, Rosamond. The sun's coming out. It's getting a little warmer here. We're here with Ross Harris this morning, the owner of the Bear Mountain. You guys are kind of in charge of putting all this together. What are the numbers of registrants for this mountain bike event looking like right now?
Yeah, so pre-registration closed last night. We had a little over 350 racers registered. There's always some day of registration, so we don't know how many folks will technically be our final number, but 350 registered in advance.
Absolutely. And you know, as Rosamond was saying just a second ago, 2-year hiatus. Do you feel like folks are kind of ready to get back out something like this?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Also, I mean, it's hard to underestimate how attractive Cameron Park is, just as a riding destination and as a race course. You know, it's we've got a really unique trail system here that you can do a whole lot of different types of riding on. You know, and racers, cross-country racers in this instance, really enjoy coming here to ride.
Absolutely. You know, going off of that, tell me a little bit about, you know, the type of folks this attracts too. Folks from not just Texas, I would assume, but maybe around the area as well.
Yeah. So this race is part of the Texas Mountain Bike Racing Association Spring Series, and so it does predominantly pull from what we might call the core of Texas, so Houston, San Antonio, Austin, Dallas. But we had folks from Arkansas and Colorado and New Mexico, Oklahoma, I believe, as well, that registered for this in advance.
Awesome. And so part of the children's race is probably going to get started within the next hour or so, and then after that, what do we expect?
Yep. So it's going to start off with our juniors, and then about 9:20 our Cat 2, so there's 3 categories of adult racers. Our Cat 2s will start, followed by our Cat 3s. They'll complete, and then our Cat 1 and Pros will go off at around 11.
Awesome. So we're getting ready to get started here in a sec. Thank you very much, Ross, for talking with us, and good luck with everything today. We'll send it to y'all in the studio.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Sounds fun. Well, what's also fun is love stories, and this one's really good. A local high school dance instructor got the surprise of a lifetime as her soldier boyfriend popped the question. It happened on the same stage where she's danced since she was in the 3rd grade. Julie Hayes joins us now with today's Tell Me Something Good. And Julie, this young man got a little help from the entire dance squad.
Oh yes, and the cheers say it all. Take a look at the moment the assistant director of the Midway High School goaltenders, Maddie Menard, was surprised by her now fiance, Austin Baker, at the end of the team's spring show. That's Austin walking onto the stage with sunflowers in hand and a really big question for Maddie. He pulled off the ultimate surprise. The show was already over. Maddie had created the videos and the voiceovers that played throughout the show. And after the last one played, the captain took the microphone and said there was one more. Maddie, cheering from the side of the stage, started to panic because she had not made another video. The head director then pulled off Maddie's headset and told her to go on stage. The last video began to roll, and it was pictures of Maddie and Austin. The girls on the team cheered Austin all the way until he got down on one knee.
So then he walks out with a big bouquet of sunflowers and a ring and gets down on one knee and asks me to marry him. And it was so special that he thought of that, planned that whole thing out, because I had danced on that stage since I was in 3rd grade, from 3rd grade to my senior year of high school, and then being back directing the goaltenders on that stage had already been super special. So it was so sweet being on that stage and getting to say yes to the love of my life.
Since I knew that she had been involved with dance all of her life, I knew I had to include dance in my proposal. So I contacted her mom and sister, and they helped me put it all together.
Maddie and Austin are planning to get married in May of 2023, and they'll likely live somewhere between Waco and Fort Hood. The former goaltender and Kilgore Rangerette said, don't be surprised if their first dance includes some choreographed moves. Congratulations to the happy couple. Reporting for today's Tell Me Something Good, I'm Julie Hayes.
Well, a final look at the weather shows the 60s are starting to slowly squeeze out the 50s across central Texas. And right now we have a wind south running at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. But this afternoon the winds will pick up and will stay at 15 to 25 for several days. In fact, 20 to 30. And then eventually, after we get some rain in here, Tuesday night late and Wednesday early, we'll be in northwest winds, 25 to 35. But we go from 83 Tuesday down to 76, have a couple of mornings there in the 40s, gradually warm up to about 80 degrees for Friday, and then next Saturday. Boy, this front definitely will contain some north winds and some slightly cooler air. Can you believe it? Today, 90, yesterday, 91, and then by Sunday, a week from today, we'll be back in the upper 60s for highs.
What do you say? That's Texas.
That's
for you.
right. It's great for weather people because it gives us something to talk about.
Yes, makes it more exciting.
That's right.
Well, we can't stress enough how important it is for people to be careful with the grilling out and the
even a cigarette butt out the window can start grass fire. And these fire departments are worked out right now. They are really tired.
During the heat and the wind, just got to be careful.
Got to be careful.
Okay, well, Rusty, it's been fun hanging out with you this weekend.
Great for me. Thanks, Rosamond.
Thank you, and thank you all for joining us. Stay tuned on News 10.